Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
All right, Internet, let's dive into some celebrity drama that's actually got some real bite. You know Bill Maher, right? The guy who's basically made a career out of saying what everyone else is thinking but too polite or scared to say out loud? Well, he's back, and this time he's not just tossing comedic grenades, he's aiming a full-on intellectual missile at none other than Whoopi Goldberg. Now, Whoopi, let's be real, is daytime royalty. The View is her kingdom, and she rules it with a mix of wit and, well, let's just call it unfiltered opinions. She's the queen of sparking debate, sometimes even landing in hot water for saying things that definitely get the Twitterverse buzzing. But lately, it seems Whoopi's outspokenness has caught the attention of the ultimate opinion heavyweight Bill Maher. And folks, it wasn't just a casual disagreement. We're talking a head-to-head collision of comedic and political titans. Apparently, Maher took serious issue with some of Whoopi's recent commentary, and he didn't just push back, he reportedly went in, like full-on rhetorical demolition. Insiders are saying Maher meticulously dissected Goldberg's arguments, pointing out what he saw as major flaws, contradictions, and maybe even a little intentional misdirection. So, is this just another celebrity feud for the headlines? Or is there something more substantial bubbling beneath the surface here? Let's break it down.
Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
But what really lit Maher's fuse? The accusation he hurled was like a verbal Molotov cocktail. Performative wokeness. That's Maher's weapon of choice when he sees what he believes is insincere virtue signaling, and this time Whoopi was squarely in his sights. The result? Reportedly, a takedown so brutal it left Goldberg scrambling for a response. Now, this isn't some isolated incident. Maher and The View have history. Remember those verbal brawls with Sunny Hostin? Ouch! Some insiders whisper that Whoopi was trying to play peacemaker after those earlier clashes, maybe diffuse the tension. But according to Maher, her approach this time was, well, let's just say less than strategic. He paints a picture of Whoopi throwing arguments at the wall to see what sticks, a kind of intellectual free-for-all. And guess what? Maher, the debate ninja, reportedly sliced through it all with rhetorical precision. Was Whoopi's attempt at moderation misinterpreted? Or did she inadvertently become the target in Maher's ongoing critique of The View? Okay, let's get to the core of the beef. What exactly sparked this intellectual brawl? Reportedly, it boils down to a disagreement over something pretty fundamental: what Black Americans actually want. Maher, in his characteristically blunt style, laid it out simply. Better jobs, a stronger economy, responsible policing, basic needs, universal desires, common sense stuff, right? But Whoopi, in Maher's telling, apparently took a sharp detour. Instead of addressing these core issues directly, she allegedly veered off into a maze of unrelated political points, pushing arguments that Maher swiftly dismissed as disjointed and unproductive. And then came the zinger. With that classic Maher smirk, he quipped that Whoopi was flipping through the woke playbook like it's a manual for winning debates. Burn! But beyond the witty one-liner, Maher's point is sharper than it seems. Arguments built on shaky foundations riddled with misdirection, they're ultimately unsustainable. Is Maher suggesting that wokeness itself relies on flimsy logic? Or is he targeting a specific style of argumentation he sees as prevalent in certain progressive circles? And what is this supposed woke playbook he's referencing? Let's unpack that.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this: it's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life, and when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
Okay, hold on, because Maher wasn't just taking shots at Whoopi's arguments. He went nuclear on The View itself. He basically branded it a political train wreck. And you know exactly the kind he means, right? The kind where you know you should change the channel, but you're morbidly fascinated, glued to the screen as it all unfolds in slow-motion chaos. Maher's accusation? The View is built on controversy, but it's prioritizing the sizzle over the steak, the sensationalism over actual thoughtful debate. This isn't just a celebrity squabble anymore, folks. This Maher versus The View saga has become a full-blown cultural phenomenon, sparking reactions across the political spectrum. For Maher, this Goldberg clash isn't just about a single flawed argument. He sees it as a symptom of something bigger, something he's been railing against for a while now. A societal slide towards rigid ideologies and, you guessed it, that dreaded performative outrage. But is The View really just a platform for manufactured drama? Or is Maher missing something? Does it actually serve a purpose in the media landscape, even if it's messy? And is his performative outrage accusation just a clever soundbite or a legitimate critique of modern discourse? Let's keep digging. Now, one thing is crystal clear. This ain't over. Goldberg seems dug in, and Maher, please, backing down is simply not in his DNA. This ongoing feud, it's dominating the celebrity news cycle. It's trending on social media. It's probably even being debated at your office water cooler right now. Whether you see it as vital cultural commentary or just another round of celebrity political theater, Bill Maher versus Whoopi Goldberg is a showdown you simply can't ignore. But is all this attention actually illuminating anything important? Or are we just getting sucked into the vortex of 24/7's outrage? Let us know your take in the comments. Okay, shifting gears slightly, but sticking with the View vortex of chaos, let's flash back to the time Charlemagne the God bravely ventured onto that very stage. Remember that episode? Wild doesn't even begin to cover it. Watching him navigate that conversation was like witnessing a tightrope walker, except the tightrope was slathered in grease and suspended over a pit of, well, let's just say very opinionated lions. Seriously, after that appearance, you wouldn't blame Charlemagne if he felt like he'd just teleported to another dimension, possibly one where logic takes a permanent vacation. So, what prompted this particular trip to the View Twilight Zone? Let's rewind to the backstory. President Biden, Mr. Justice for All, found himself in a PR minefield after pardoning his son, Hunter Biden. Now, let's not forget the Cliff's Notes version of Hunter's story, guilty of corruption-related charges. The irony is, shall we say, thick. A president who repeatedly declares no one is above the law, suddenly looking suspiciously like he's prioritizing family loyalty above, well, everything else. Hunter's guilt wasn't some shadowy accusation. It was pretty much confirmed fact. But accountability seemed to have taken an unscheduled vacation when it came to the Biden clan. Is this a case of a father's love blinding him to political optics? Or is there a more unsettling issue of power and privilege at play here? And how does this kind of move resonate with voters who aren't part of the political elite? Enter Charlemagne, stage left, armed with his signature brand of unflinching honesty. He didn't pull any punches, calling out what he saw as blatant hypocrisy. His argument was laser-focused. If the woke movement, a term often thrown around in these discussions, preaches accountability for everyone, shouldn't that rule apply universally? No exceptions for family, no exceptions for political allies. Logically, it makes perfect sense, but apparently, logic takes a back seat in the View verse. Whoopi Goldberg, in what's already being dubbed the latest installment of Whoopi's Whoppers, reportedly contorted herself into some serious intellectual acrobatics trying to defend Biden's pardon. "Get ready for this, gem," she allegedly declared, with a straight face, that President Biden didn't lie when he said no one is above the law. Seriously? Because, evidence, video clips, sound bites, maybe even basic common sense might suggest the opposite. Watching her attempt this spin, according to reports, was like watching someone try to argue that water isn't wet while simultaneously drowning. Even Charlemagne, a master of deadpan reactions, was visibly stunned, his face practically broadcasting to the nation. Did she really just say that? Is this a case of unwavering loyalty to a political party overriding basic logic? And what does this kind of on-air defense do to the credibility of shows like The View? But hold on, because the Whoopi defense didn't stop there. She then reportedly floated the idea that maybe Biden pardoned Hunter because he was tired of everyone getting over on him, as if pardoning your son for corruption charges is some kind of political self-care routine. Charlemagne, usually armed with a witty comeback for every occasion, was reportedly rendered speechless. And this, folks, is the kind of moment that perfectly illustrates what Bill Maher so often slams as woke logic, the glaring double standards. When someone outside their perceived circle makes a misstep, Cue the outrage machine, full throttle. But when it's someone within their own tribe, suddenly the moral compass does a 180, and accountability becomes, well, negotiable. Is this selective outrage a genuine flaw within certain progressive circles, or is Maher painting with too broad a brush? And how does this kind of perceived double standard impact public trust in media and political commentary? The View crew might have thought they could spin their way through this while Charlemagne was in the studio. But little did they know, Bill Maher was watching, and he was about to enter the chat. When Maher caught wind of their latest on-air acrobatics, he reportedly issued a verbal "hold my beer" challenge. And then, according to reports, he unleashed a takedown for the ages. A rhetorical demolition so precise, it left Goldberg's arguments in smoking ruins and, let's be honest, probably sent the woke mob, Maher's favorite target, scrambling for some serious damage control PR. Maher, in his own estimation, hit the nail squarely on the head. This woke mob, these self-proclaimed guardians of truth and morality, have once again, in Maher's view, exposed a hefty dose of hypocrisy. Hunter Biden's guilt? Pretty undeniable. But thanks to his father's position, accountability conveniently vanished. Imagine the firestorm if this was anyone else's kid. The outrage machine would be dialed up to 11. But when it's one of their own, suddenly, justice becomes flexible. Is Maher right to so forcefully call out this perceived hypocrisy? And is the term woke mob a valid critique, or just a loaded phrase designed to shut down legitimate concerns? Maher's argument is that this isn't just about Hunter Biden's legal woes. It's about a system that seems to bend the rules for the politically connected while coming down hard on everyone else. The real question, in his view, isn't whether his takedown was justified. He clearly believes it was, but how much longer will the public tolerate these blatant double standards? And the hypocrisy, according to Maher, doesn't stop there. He also shone a spotlight on the mainstream media's role in all this. Remember how many major outlets seemed to work overtime to bury the Hunter Biden story? Dismissing it as Russian disinformation, despite mounting evidence to the contrary. Their alleged agenda? Not necessarily truth, but protecting Biden and, of course, sticking it to Trump. Free speech, in Maher's analysis, took a back seat, and dissenting voices were, well, effectively silenced. Was the media truly biased in their coverage of the Hunter Biden saga? And what are the long-term consequences when trust in media erodes to this extent? And right in the thick of it, defending the seemingly indefensible, was Whoopi Goldberg. On The View, she reportedly joined the chorus, brushing off the allegations with a mix of indifference and, dare we say, a hint of disdain. But Maher, ever the contrarian, wasn't letting her off the hook. He systematically dismantled her defenses piece by piece, exposing her arguments and, frankly, her credibility to some serious scrutiny. Maher's critique of The View goes beyond just targeting Whoopi personally. It's about dissecting what he sees as the toxic dynamic of the show itself. These hosts, especially Goldberg, have, in his view, transformed it into a platform for ideological gatekeeping. Instead of fostering genuine, open debate, they often dismiss any dissenting opinions with thinly veiled scorn and ridicule. Whoopi's signature move? The dismissive wave of the hand, the condescending smirk that says, "You're beneath me." But Maher, bless him, wasn't intimidated. He saw through what he perceives as their tactics and called them out, revealing The View for what it's allegedly become. Not a space for dialogue, but a shark tank where opposing viewpoints are systematically shredded. Is The View truly stifling genuine debate, or is it simply presenting a passionate, albeit partisan, perspective? And is it fair to label Goldberg a gatekeeper, or is she just a strong personality expressing her opinions? Maher's takedown in the end wasn't just another celebrity rant. It was a reminder that intellectual honesty still matters in public discourse, even when it feels increasingly rare. Bill Maher's relentless critique of the woke mob, whether you agree with his terminology or not, continues to resonate with many because, he argues, he's exposing a brand of activism that can,